The Nazis lost the war, but in a strange way they still shaped the world we live in. From the first computers to the assault rifle to technology you use every single day, Nazi inventions left a mark that never went away. Some of them will surprise you, others will disturb you, but one invention on this list might just change the way you see modern life forever. When we think of Nazi Germany, we think of terror, dictatorship and war, and rightly so. But behind the swastikas and speeches was a vast machine of engineering, chemistry and design. Technology was weaponized, yes, but it also spilled into unexpected places, creating things we still use in our daily lives. Take cars, for example. In the 1930s, Hitler had a dream of putting every German family behind the wheel. He wanted a cheap, reliable car that anyone could own. The man he turned to was Ferdinand Porsche. The result was the Volkswagen Beetle, the so-called people's car. At first, it was meant to symbolize progress under the Reich, but after the war, production resumed, and the Beetle became a global icon of peace, love, and freedom. More than 21 million were sold. A vehicle designed for a dictatorship went on to become the symbol of the hippie movement, proof that technology can outlive ideology and be repurposed into something very different. And of course, a car like that needed a road. The Nazis poured resources into the Autobahn, building vast highways that connected German cities in ways never seen before. While motorways existed elsewhere, Hitler's regime built them on an entirely new scale, part propaganda, part military logistics. These wide, smooth roads impressed everyone who saw them, including Dwight Eisenhower, who later used the Autobahn as inspiration for the interstate highway system in the United States. So if you've ever driven on a modern freeway, you've experienced a direct descendant of Nazi infrastructure. From roads and cars, the story shifts to sound. In the 1930s, German engineers developed high-quality tape recorders, using magnetic tape to capture audio in a way that was revolutionary. Joseph Goebbels, the propaganda minister, quickly saw the potential. He used recordings of Hitler's speeches to create the illusion that the Führer could be in multiple places at once, his voice echoing across cities separated by miles. After the war, Americans captured this technology. Entertainers like Bing Crosby helped bring tape recording into the mainstream, sparking the modern music and broadcasting industry. Without it, rock and roll, multi-track recording, and even the cassette tapes of later decades might never have happened. What began as a propaganda tool for one of history's darkest regimes ended up fueling the soundtrack of modern culture. But if we follow the thread of innovation further, it leads us to something even more influential: computing. In 1941, a German engineer named Konrad Zuse built the Z3, the world's first programmable digital computer. Unlike the calculating machines before it, the Z3 could run programs stored on punched film, making it a genuine ancestor of the devices we use today. Zuse wasn't particularly tied to Nazi ideology. If anything, he struggled to get funding from the regime. But his invention was groundbreaking. After the war, his ideas influenced the birth of modern computing. And so, in an odd twist of history, the smartphone in your pocket and the laptop on your desk carry DNA from a machine built in Nazi Germany. Of course, not all Nazi inventions were neutral or benign. Many were designed purely for war. One of the most influential was the Sturmgewehr 44, the STG-44, the world's first true assault rifle. Until then, infantry soldiers had to choose between slow-firing rifles with long range or machine guns that were heavy and burned through ammunition. The STG-44 offered something new: an intermediate cartridge, rapid fire, and portability. Hitler himself, after initially dismissing it, became so impressed he gave it the name Storm Rifle. Its design directly inspired the AK-47, which in turn shaped the M16, and eventually every modern assault rifle. In a very real sense, every firefight of the modern age echoes back to this German weapon. And war doesn't stop when the sun goes down. In 1944, German troops began experimenting with night vision. Using infrared lamps and bulky goggles powered by heavy battery packs, snipers and tank crews could see in total darkness. Primitive by today's standards, but revolutionary at the time. After the war, both the Americans and Soviets took this technology and advanced it, making night vision a staple of modern armies and even police forces. From special operations raids to video games simulating them, The concept of fighting in the dark traces back to experiments carried out in Nazi Germany. While soldiers were fighting on the ground, German engineers were also experimenting in the air. Among their lesser-known projects was the Fokker Achilles FA-223, one of the first operational helicopters. This strange-looking aircraft, nicknamed the Dragon, could carry supplies, artillery, and even troops across terrain where planes couldn't land. Production was limited, partly due to Allied bombing raids, but the idea was proven. After the war, captured engineers and designs helped accelerate helicopter development in the United States, the Soviet Union, and Britain. Today, helicopters are everywhere. Air ambulances, rescue missions, military operations, even the news choppers hovering above traffic jams. And it all ties back to those early prototypes, tested under the swastika. But not all Nazi inventions became useful or inspiring. Some remain as terrifying reminders of what science can become in the wrong hands. In 1936, German scientists accidentally discovered tabun while developing pesticides. This was the world's first nerve agent, odorless, invisible, and lethally efficient. Soon after came sarin and soman, each deadlier than the last. The Nazis produced thousands of tons of these weapons but never deployed them in battle, perhaps out of fear that the Allies had their own stockpiles. After the war, both the United States and the Soviet Union rushed to weaponize these discoveries, leading to decades of chemical warfare research. Even today, when we hear about chemical attacks in the news, the agents used often trace directly back to Nazi Germany's laboratories. Unlike the Beetle or the computer, these inventions carry no silver lining, only a warning of how deadly human innovation can become. And that's the unsettling truth. Nazi Germany's inventions live on all around us. The cars we drive, the highways we speed down, the music we record, the computers we rely on, the weapons soldiers carry, the night vision goggles that pierce the dark, the helicopters that save lives, and the chemical agents that still haunt international treaties, all of them shaped by the twisted ambitions of the Third Reich. It leaves us with a sobering lesson. Technology itself is neutral. It doesn't care who invents it or why. What matters is how it's used. The Volkswagen Beetle, once a propaganda tool, became a symbol of peace. Tape recorders, once used to spread dictatorship, went on to fuel art and music. Computers, helicopters, highways, all turned toward progress. But nerve agents remain a reminder of the darkest path science can take. The Nazis may have lost the war, but their inventions never disappeared. They merged into the modern world, shaping the tools we use, the weapons we fear, and the very structure of daily life. And perhaps that's the strangest legacy of all, that out of humanity's darkest chapter came innovations that continue to define the present, proof that history is never really gone. It lingers, in the most unexpected places. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and maybe check out my other video about what happened to Nazi companies after World War II.